Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. Today on Races of the Worlds, we are going to continue, albeit a little later than we were planning, with the message we had from our last meeting with the Galactic Consortium's Grand Council, the Council of 12. Okay, so this is the second part of a. I mean, it's only in all likelihood going to be three parts, but and then we'll get back to various different races and what have you. But the big message that I was told to pass on is to get this part straightened out, and that is the balance as far as how the peoples of this planet can attain the membership in the Galactic Council. Now, mankind is only just getting off the planet. So this is not exactly a question of, or, how do I put this? This is not a question of whether or not the Galactic Consortium is quarantining mankind. Okay, that's not happening. They've got no interest in it. Now, this part is going to almost sound very much like the spiritual side of things, but it boils down to this. Okay, society is built in a very simple fashion. You have three basic legs, three support poles. That is your spirituality, okay, and that is basically a philosophy of life, if you will. Your spirituality is one leg. The second leg is the non-human races. I call them off-worlders and ancient races. Ancient races are the ones that evolved on Earth, and rest assured, humans are not the only race that evolved on Earth. Okay, and then you've got the off-worlders, the ones that are out there, the ones that are of the Galactic Consortium. Your third venue, the third leg that is absolutely critical, and is what actually puts mankind in the position of being the caretakers of this planet, and that is your career, your work, your business. Okay, whatever it is you're doing to enhance society as a whole. Now, individuals enhance their own lives, and this is where karmic law is critical. The off-worlders they've got a very simple outlook. When you've got those three legs working together, then you have a platform to build self-awareness, to build self-worth. Okay, if any one of those legs fall, that platform will tilt. If you don't believe me, take a three-legged stool. Cut one of the legs short and see how stable that table is. Okay, so we're going to go through some, and I just got told that's not going to quite work that way, but the issue of it only being 3 long, because we're going to break this into what each of those venues are according to the consortium, and this is where many of the different venues that we're going through that we are discussing, aka spirituality, the races of the worlds, business, and self-worth, self-accomplishment. All 4 of those are going to be covered. Today, we're going to cover the issue of spirituality. Okay, that being, who do you call God? Okay, by what name? Now, the off-worlders do believe in a higher power. Many names, many different planets. Okay, the most ancient of the ancients call them the prime call it the prime originator. Okay, they are some races call them refer to it as Nataj. Some refer to it as Yurksy. Some refer to it and bear in mind, Nataj and Yurksy are both essentially emissaries. Okay. You have Source, you have the universe, you have God, you have Ally, you have Gaia. Okay, there are countless names that they go by, but it boils down to the same thing. Who do you give credit for creating your life? Okay, now the neat part about that is all of the races, 2,500 member planets and then some. Or more to the point, 2,500 member races. Because many of those races have multiple planets. Okay. Regardless of what name you put to it, regardless of who you call it, okay, your spiritual guides, the emissaries are teaching you, okay, whoever your priests are, your coven leaders, whatever. Okay, and I'm sure I got the name for that wrong. So that being said, my apologies if I did. Okay, I do not know everything by any functional stretch of the imagination. But I will tell you this, the spirituality, to the people out there that are claiming to be spiritual guides, that are claiming to be light workers, that are claiming to be religious icons, if you're talking war, if you're talking prejudice, you're giving the wrong message. Okay? There is nobody that is actually of less value than anybody else. Everybody has the same value. Okay? The size of the pocketbook does not matter. The color of the skin does not matter. Okay? Your choice in partners does not matter. Who you vote for is irrelevant. In the greater scheme of things, all individuals are equal. And when I'm talking about all individuals, I'm referring to all life. Okay? A tree is as much value as a human. Okay? Now, I do not recommend mowing down humans. Okay? Or, cutting them down haphazardly. Of course, in all fairness, I don't recommend cutting down full forests either. Okay? It does happen on occasion. It doesn't make it right. Okay? When we talk about spirituality, what church you go to, what temple you go to, what circle you gather in doesn't make a difference in the bigger scheme. Go to who you will. I am not suggesting that the off-worlders say you should not look to somebody, because everybody looks up to somebody, and I do mean everybody. Okay. When we are talking about the spirituality from the off-worlders, it's very simple. Follow your leaders. Okay, follow the icons. Now, this does not mean follow them blindly. As I said before, if an icon, if a religious leader from the consortium is leading people down what is considered a bad path, as in breaking karmic law, do unto others, be true to yourself, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Energy out, energy in. If a spiritual leader is not taking you down that road, is not guiding you down that path, they are not a spiritual leader. They are simply somebody that is broadcasting, that came out well, their own viewpoint for whatever their purpose. Okay, a spiritual leader does not promote prejudice. Okay, does not promote war. Peace is not gained through superior firepower. Quiet is attained through superior firepower, because, quite frankly, if you're afraid of being killed, you're going to hide. But that is not called peace. That is called quiet. Peace is when you can walk up to somebody and talk to them and not worry about being stabbed, shot, ripped off, whatever. From the spiritual standpoint, it is time to realize that all denizens of this planet and beyond are members of the same thing. They are all part of life. Okay. Now, you do have life and death, and you need both. Okay. It is absolutely required. In all truth, from my understanding, you have life, you have death, and you have the midpoint. And yes, that does exist. It's just a weird setup. But we'll get into that side of things, the midpoint, in one of the venues, in one of the discussions that we have on spirituality itself. But the consortium is interested in life. They are not interested in conquest. If they wanted to conquer the planet, if they wanted to conquer Earth, if they wanted to wipe it out, it'd be done like that, and you'd never see it coming. If they wanted to enslave the race, if they wanted to enslave the people to the planet, they'd come in with an armada, they would clear cut the whole place, kidnap everybody all at once, and be done with it, and there would not be a thing you could do about it. Okay, now of course the reality is, because they don't look at it that way, they look at it and go, "You're children. You do not understand what you're doing." Hence the comment that was made several centuries ago, "Forgive them, Father, they know not what they do." Okay, when you're looking at spirituality, we are looking at every life. All life is of value. Okay, all life is worth as much as the next. They all are part of the building situation. All parts are necessary. If you're having a cake, if you're having cake for dinner, well, then you're in luck, in my opinion. But if you're having cake for dessert, you don't have a little bit of flour, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of vanilla, right? You don't put those on the table on their own. You don't try and identify which part of it is the best part of the cake. In civilization, the color of somebody's skin does not make for a better or worse person, or more important person, or more important part of society. The skeletal configuration does not make them less valuable. You have to have people that are high intellect, people that are low intellect, people that are mid-range. You have to have all three. Okay, in order to keep balance, you have to have one end, the second end, and a balance point in the middle. Okay, this is, in many terms, this is quite frankly why certain things come up, why certain phrases have come up, like for instance, and I know this is going to upset people eventually, so we'll get into that when we get into the spirituality side, but into the more specific on that end. But the message from the consortium was real simple. Where it comes to spirituality, doesn't matter what you call them, does not matter at all. Put whatever label you feel comfortable with. Absolutely gather with people that use the same label. But understand, just because you call it one label and somebody else calls it a different one does not make it worse or better. I personally like the way that William Shakespeare put it. A rose by any other name would smell as sweet. And here's the other little piece of information I came across regarding the rose. Lots of people love roses. What most people don't seem to remember is there was a time when roses were considered a weed, which may be why I like the look of dandelions. But, okay, all parts of life are of value. That is the backbone of the leg of spirituality that supports societal growth. Okay, now there is a saying that says the society itself is only as strong as its weakest link. The question that the consortium has for individuals, something that you have to ask yourself: am I promoting equality? Am I promoting, with the people I deal with, am I being equal? Am I treating people the same way, regardless of where they're from? Okay. Now, do understand, if somebody is treating you poorly, the consortium is real cut and dried. They look at it and go, if you're getting treated poorly, don't tolerate it. Now, they're a little extreme in my opinion. This is something that I've been working with them for. If somebody insults you, yeah, it doesn't feel nice. It hurts your ego. Okay, on Earth, you get upset You've got all sorts of ways of doing it. Many of the off-world races are still struggling with that one because you insult them and they kill you. Yeah, I'm thinking this is a little extreme personally, but when we're dealing with the spirituality leg of societal evolution, which societal evolution is what the off-worlders, what the consortium, what the Grand Council is aiming for. Okay, until that evolves to a certain level, they are not going to be opening the doors and going, okay, you're now a member of the consortium. They are, however, going to continue guiding you. Okay, by the means they can without conquest. They're not infiltrating the political system. That would totally defeat their purpose because they're not here to babysit. Okay, when you have questions, they absolutely desire them to be asked. Okay, but it's not a question from their standpoint of can you get there? It's a question of how long will it take you to get there? This is not the first time that mankind has gotten to this point that I'm personally aware of because of past life memories. Okay, that I can think of right off the top of my head. Society has arrived at the point of off-world travel at least 3 times that I'm absolutely aware of, where what you know as humans have gotten off-world. Okay, now, according to the consortium, the fact that mankind has gotten back to that point is the most exciting time, especially for the xenosociologists. Okay, they are watching society like a hawk. Okay, now the spirituality side of the consortium, their expectations are simple. To all of you religious leaders, all you spiritual guides, all you self-proclaimed light workers, if you're promoting superiority of your group over any other group, you're missing the boat. It's that simple. Okay, it is time to start promoting, regardless of what title people use. Okay, it is time to start promoting planetary unity. Now, they are not talking about one government, they are talking about, and they are not talking about spirituality or one religious belief structure going, this is the only way to look at it. They are looking at common denominator. Are you treating all life equally? Because all life is interconnected. Just like every cell in your body is critical for the existence of the rest of your body. Okay, for those of you that were unfortunate enough to lose an arm, lose a limb, okay, if it doesn't work right, you don't get to enjoy as much life. Well, if society doesn't work right, if on a spiritual level it is not unified, you will not enjoy life as much. And as they point out, for spiritualists, for religious leaders to stand there and say, we are talking peace, we will bring peace on earth, God will bring peace, but kill everybody that doesn't agree with you. That is not called peace. And that is not what is supposed to be coming. When you get the idea correct, you'll realize that the spiritual side of things, there are many ways of looking at it, many words that can be used, and multiple languages that are used. But when a spiritual leader is calling themselves a leader, make certain the person you're following is talking about world unity, not about individual superiority or secular superiority, because all life is equal. And the big message from the Grand Council is this: when spirituality, when that leg comes down, and your primary leaders are actually working together, regardless of the name, when they're working together to build a better world, now we have a leg that will help to build societal evolution to the point where becoming an overall member of the Galactic Consortium becomes feasible. Okay, this is the biggest thing that you have to look at. And even amongst the people that are looking at that are calling themselves paranormal investigators, okay, ufologists, these are simply titles. But understand, if you're going to claim to be researching it, it is absolutely critical that you do not look down on the people that are reporting. Okay, when I was up in the council with the Grand Council, we were watching some of the peoples down on Earth, because yes, they are watching. It's just that simple. Okay, and we were watching what was going on, and people are claiming, and no, I'm not using names, forget it, don't even ask, I'm not going there. Okay, but there are some groups that claim to be UFO researchers, okay, or abduction specialists. And when somebody reports, I've had a problem, I've had what I think is an abduction, a researcher comes in and goes, you're completely off your nut. That didn't happen. This is not called research. This is called judgment. Okay. If you're affiliated with a group that is doing that, you might desire to change groups. Okay. Or strike out on your own. Because understand, much as there is no physical proof, that's very, very intentional, there is not a lot of physical proof of the off-worlders here. There's a lot of visual, but of course, society has evolved to an interesting level. When we are talking about guidance, when we are talking about the spiritual leg, we are talking about the way you treat each other, and especially, specifically, towards the people in what humans call the UFO society, the alien society, trying to understand off-worlders. When is full disclosure going to happen? Full disclosure already did happen. Okay, you guys know the aliens are here. People are getting more and more now. I don't have the stats. They don't have the stats because they don't care. They just didn't bother with the stats. But there is a growing awareness that without solid proof, without a ship sitting there, on public display at your local supermarket or at your local stadium, okay, people know the off-worlders are here. This is not really open to debate. Now, just to be clear, there are still people I've talked to that believe that Earth is flat. Okay, so you're not going to get everybody. There's always going to be the naysayers. Even from the council standpoint, there are people amongst their own peoples that look at humans as nothing but a chia pet. That's it. Okay. A little potted plant that doesn't do a thing. It just sits there and waves back and forth if it's windy. That's all it does. Okay. But the Ground Council knows what is possible, what the humans are capable of. They've made it there before and then wiped themselves out quite by accident the last time. Well, actually, the last time it wasn't, but about 40,000 years ago, humans wiped themselves out rather strongly and rather unexpectedly. But that's another story for another day. The spirituality side of it is this: you have to be on the same page where life, all life, is of value. Okay, now the reality of it is very simple. When mankind gets that through their head and starts working together, they will be able to see things that right now are beyond them. Okay, and a lot of that is because the off-worlders go, you're not ready to see us. Okay, they've been doing what some people have called a soft disclosure. Meaning, you see their ships once in a while, you'll see people on occasion. I mean, I've run into a number of races, both off-world and on the world, Now, you don't have to believe me. The fact that I am also a science fiction, science fantasy writer has brought into question whether or not what I'm doing is saying, here's the races, because I've got a really creative mind. Okay, well, the ironic part there is I've got enough circumstantial evidence. I've talked to enough people about the different things that I've seen. If that's all it is, then my imagination is manifesting in other people's lives, which is really kind of a unique idea. Not entirely impossible, but okay, so I'm not here to say I'm absolutely the only authority out there. The only thing I will tell you is the reason I deal directly with the council is because I don't see any functional difference between humans and any other race. Okay, that is why I deal with them. And the biggest part of this is simply from a spiritual standpoint. If your spiritual leader, the one that you're turning to, is not promoting equality and peace, not firepower, not death, and for pity's sakes, this idea of fear whoever you call God, okay, doesn't work well if you're trying to promote peace. Okay, but I do keep these down to the half hour. So how about a thumbs up for the video? Subscribe to our channel. That way you can get the rest of the information. And until we try English, at the bottom of the videos, you'll see a list of ways of contacting me. You'll find a list of different books that I've already got in print that you can get directly through me. Okay, and we will talk again shortly, but until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.